Hello to everybody watching. My name is Andrew Cohen, and I'm here today to do my ism speech. Here's my note card, as you can see, one-sided, nothing on the back. And my ism today is called amoralism. So to give a quick definition, WorldCat describes amoralism as a doctrine or attitude that ignores or rejects moral values or deems them to be irrelevant. Now, I want to clear something up before I get further into the speech. There's a difference between amoralism and immoralism. One is spelled with an A and was with an I. But seriously, the difference is immoralism is defined as rejecting normal, classical moral values. So, good, the opposite would be bad. However, with amoralism, we're thinking more on neutral terms. So, you don't really care either way. It could be good or bad. So, with that out of the way, I think we need to get into what we're going to be looking into. So, first thing we're going to be looking into is, where did this come from? Where did it come from? Who believes in this? And after that, does it even exist? Now, that third one's going to be a bit complicated, and I'll get into it as I get through these other 2 points. But to answer the first question of who came up with this, it was a man named Max Stiller back in 1809 in Bavaria, Germany. Now, this guy was what most people would consider a bit of an oddball. He came up with a lot of controversial philosophical ideas around this time, including existentialism, nihilism, and even postmodernism. So a lot of these deal with non-classical moral values, and he didn't even intentionally come up with amoralism in itself. He actually mentioned it in his book, The Ego and Its Own, wherein he is describing about egoism, but he also brings up amoralism, but he describes it more of an self-interest. So he coins this term, but later on it changes into more of what we see today. And to go on to further my second point, who believes in this idea? Well, actually it's a bit weird. No one does. It's impossible to believe in amoralism. You cannot be completely neutral on any idea. Every human has a bias. It doesn't matter if it's a good bias or a bad bias, you have a bias. There's no possible way for a human to be completely neutral on any subject if they have any sort of emotion. So the only true believers in amoralism would be an inanimate object. Because an inanimate object like a rock has no opinion on good or bad. It's just a rock. It can't choose, so it has no bias. So it really is kind of interesting. Now, why would we even want to know about amoralism if we as humans cannot use it? Well, that goes into my third point. Does it even exist? Does amoralism even exist if we cannot, use it or even understand it? Yes, it is important, and it does exist, because in the future, it could be super, super important when understanding, surprisingly, AI. AI is artificial intelligence. And we're not exactly sure what sort of moral values they're going to take because they are a man-made creation. They may take amoralism as their main philosophy. So they're going to be neutral on any subject you present to them. They're not going to have any past experiences with these decisions, so they're just going to make it based on the facts. They're going to be super neutral about everything. And if we're going to understand AI, we're going to need to understand amoralism. And that wraps up my 3 points, but if we're going to go back and look at them, we're going to see that it's not moral or immoral. There is a difference. It's just neutral. It was coined by Max Stiller. The only true believers in immoralism are inanimate objects. And lastly, it does exist, but it's not existent in humans. So I really hope you enjoyed this crash course on amoralism, and I hope you can come to give your own opinion on it, because, amoralism is, in fact, kind of relevant in this situation. So, you have your bias, so you're not exactly immoral, but, I hope you come to your own conclusion based on the facts of what I told you. But thank you for watching, and it's been a pleasure.